city bum, 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 city bum, bum, bum.
What did you do after Colby?
I wanted to study law, but I had no money, so I went back to Kobe and got an MA degree. Did a year graduate work, got a Master of Arts degree. Then I finished in law school at Boston University, and I got my LLLvideo in 1922.
Didn't you teach school for a while?
Oh yes, I forgot to tell you. I taught school after let me see, what year was it? 1918, I taught school for 2 years, 1920. And I saved my money and went to law school.
Where did you teach?
At Meredith, New Hampshire. That's 10 miles from Laconia. Laconia is a city like Waterville.
Where did you live?
Where'd you live when you were there?
Beg your pardon?
Where'd you live there?
I had a room and got my meals in a boarding place for 2 years. Then I saved my money, and so I go back to law school.
I thought you went to Harvard Law School.
No, I didn't graduate out of it.
Did you start there?
I started when the war broke out.
World War I?
World War I?
Yeah.
So did you serve in World War I?
No, I got rejected in Waterville. Then they sent me to Augusta. And I had to wait a long time before they called me for another examination. And they put me on a permanent rejected basis.
I thought you told me you went to Portland. No?
Maybe it was before, I don't remember now.
Why did they reject you?
I'm flat-footed.
And I think you went around Boston trying to volunteer.
No, to be able to walk.
And they wrote it up in the newspaper that you tried to volunteer in Boston, too.
You have to say it so you can hear you.
Did you try to volunteer in Boston?
What?
You wanted to go in the war?
Did I want to go to war? I had nothing to say about it.
Did you try to volunteer?
In Boston,
That's right. Yeah, oh sure, I tried to volunteer first. Because I was afraid they draft me, they put me in anything, you know, saying.
So,
I got my master's in English.
would you write a thesis on something?
did you have to write a thesis?
Yes, I had to write a thesis for my master's.
What did you write your thesis on?
I don't remember the name of the subject.
What did Shakespeare ask?
Economic cost of war.
Was it about economic cost of war?
I think that's it. The war's on, and I took my master's in English and economics, and I had to write a thesis on one of those subjects. I think the cost of war.
While you were at Colby, how did you work your way through?
War doesn't necessarily mean dollars and cents, but everything else involved in that upset of the country.
Did you live at Colby?
No, I lived in Waterville.
Why not?
Well, I saved money. That's why I wanted to study law. I lived at home. It cost me nothing.
Did you get a scholarship? Did you have a scholarship to Colby?
Yes, I had a scholarship at Kobe.
Did you have to work?
I don't remember if I did.
Who helped you get your scholarship? Wasn't the president your friend?
Roberts.
Didn't the president of Colby help you get a scholarship?
Is that what?
Didn't the president of Colby help you get your
Oh,
scholarship?
yeah, sure.
President Roberts?
President Roberts, Arthur Jeremiah Roberts.
Very friendly with you.
Yeah.
Was he nice to you?
Was it?
You know, I was a poor boy, and I was ambitious, and he helped me.
Didn't you work at Meters?
Yeah.
And
When did you work at Meters? High school or college?
Well, I remember when I started, I worked when I had time. They unloaded carloads of fruit and produce. And every time I had time, I'd go and you paid so much an hour. And I'd get my money, and I saved it. I was a very saving boy, because I knew the folks didn't have the money, and I wanted an education, and I knew I had to earn a good part of it.
Did you sell newspapers too? Did you sell newspapers?
Yes, I had a Sunday roof for years and years.
What would you call out?
How would you holler?
How would you holler out to sell the newspapers?
I was what?
What would you call out when you're trying to sell the newspapers?
Well, I had customers that had a roof.
No, but on the
I
corner.
carried sentinels too.
Did you sell on the corner too?
Of your building?
After I got through with my roof, I'd stand on the corner.
What did you say?
What would you yell out?
Near where the papers came. H.L. Kelly, a corner of Main Street and Temple Street. I think that building's been torn down now.
What would you yell out?
How would you yell out the newspapers?
Boston Sunday Post, Globe, Herald, and American.
Why did you wear a dark sweater in college?
Mama says you wore a dark sweater when you went to college.
Yes, because I couldn't wear white clothes because it showed the dirt and I was working. A little jersey sweater, I was always clean.
And what kind of work did you do at the college when you wore the sweater?
What kind of work did I do at the college?
In between classes downstairs.
Why would your sweater get black?
Well,
You shovel coal.
I didn't have a black sweater. I had kind of a gray sweater. You know, one jersey sweater, and I couldn't help it. I wasn't dealing with fancy stuff. It was just a rough, hard movement.
Did you shovel coal?
No real work.
Did you shovel coal?
No, I didn't shovel coal.
I thought you had to stoke the furnaces.
You didn't stoke the furnaces? Didn't have to stoke the furnace with coal?
No.
In between classes?
Oh, yeah.
Did you stoke the furnace in between classes at Colby?
I never did.
Did you stoke the coal?
In the summertime, did you work building the new buildings at Colby, carrying bricks as a mason's assistant?
In the summer, did you work as a mason?
I worked at OME, the Wholesale Food and Produce. Summer vacation.
And did his mother come and
I was
help
old
him
enough
with
to
the
work steady all summer.
Did you work at the paper company one summer?
Thought to work at the paper mill?
I worked at Houses and Whitney.
Didn't he hurt his hand or something?
Yeah, I worked at Houses and Whitney.
What work did you do at Hollingsworth and Whitney?
Helped load carloads of rolled paper.
All right. Did you ever play
Football.
football?
Break your collarbone.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you play any sports in high school?
Hold my baby boy.
I think I played football.
Did you ever get injured? Were you ever hurt?
No.
Yeah, you hurt the collarbone.
Oh, I broke a collarbone. Yes, I never told my folks it never been healed. Hasn't been healed today. It sticks right out.
How did you tell them the score on the away games?
How'd
you tell them the score on the away games when you're out of town?
When you went out
How
of
did I
town,
tell them the score?
How'd you tell the people in Waterville how you turned out?
That was the North Grandma. He was the manager. Harold Dubart was the manager. He sent a telegram.
I don't understand.
They would send a telegram?
Oh, yes. We sent a telegram to tell Kelly. And Kelly would write with a blue pencil, you know. Waterville High School so much, Coney High School so much. They everybody's interested in the school. They go to the corner and look in the window.
That's very
And
good.
it's written out on big wrapping paper. Different teams and scores.
Coney was Augusta in those days. Named
All
Coney High
schools in
School.
this vicinity, Harvard, Yale, and the big colleges as well.
Did your brother Johnny play for Yale?
Your brother Johnny a good football player?
Huh?
Your brother a good football player?
Oh, he played at Yale. Football, fullback at Yale. All-American. He was a big man too, big, heavy, solid.
Were you a good student in college?
No, I don't think he was much of a student, but he got by, I guess.
How about you? Were you a good student?
I was a good student. Right.
Did you make Phi Beta Kappa?
No, I didn't make that.
Why not? Why didn't you know about?
I had to work while I was in college too. I had to work. First I'd have a class in economics. From 10 and 11, I'd go to work. After I come out till 12, then if I didn't have a class in the afternoon, I'd work in the afternoon. I devoted all my leisure time to laborious work.
Did you know about Phi Beta Kappa?
I knew about the end of my first year.
if you had known, would have made a difference?
I never knew. I had no one in my family. I had an
How did you
opportunity
get
to have an
into
education. No one could tell me.
You're not getting me.
I learned about it, and I asked them, I asked them, where is that fraternity house? And it's funny, I never heard of it.
But you realized you did me, Bobby, about by having your sons get the Phi Beta Kappa.
You didn't know about Phi Beta Kappa when you started?
No, so my end of my first year.
Would it made a difference?
Well, I don't know, I might have
Jules, don't text me.
Don't know whether the Phi Beta Kappa. I want to get through college. I wanted to be a professor. My folks were poor when they came to the whole country. Never had an opportunity for an education in this country. And it was up to me, and I made good. I found no fault. Never regretted that I had to work hard to get my education. I was pledged. I think my senior year, I was pledged to ATO. I was a good football player in high school and good student, and I was pledged to ATO.
Did you win any
They pledged him before you got into Kobe? Before you got into Kobe, they pledged you? Before you went to Kobe, they pledged you?
Yeah, they pledged me before I went to Kobe. They wanted me. Yeah. And I accepted the pledge. I didn't know nothing about fraternities. It was a nice fraternity. Alpha Tau me. I got my program at home, my name on it.
Did you win any of them?
I won some prizes.
What about in law school?
He was...
No speaking contest.
Yes, he did. He was a...
But you gave the speech at the graduation of BU Law School.
How about at graduation? Did you make any special speeches yourself?
BU Law School.
I don't remember.
Yes, you were class orator.
At BU Law School.
You were a class orator. You were a class orator.
Oh, yeah. That's right, I was.
You remember his speech? He could probably do the...
They put it in the Boston
So
newspaper.
many things transpired, my memory doesn't recall very
He
vividly
has a
now.
birthday next month. He was class orator.
He's only 92 and 11 months now.
Ask him what he thinks of
What did he tell?
His connection.
I don't bother about it.
How would he show that?
Then he went into the gun business.
I just eat it up.
How would he show people what he had?
Look at your basket.
He didn't know much
What
English.
English was, you knew. His ware sold itself.
Father come from Europe to America.
But he didn't want to serve the Kaiser.
What? And how did he get out of Russia?
Skipped the country and came to America. Everybody in those days was fleeing away from Russia because they had conscription. Everybody had to serve.
And did they bring a Torah with them, the
Yes.
Jewish scroll?
Brought a Torah, and we have the Torah now in the shul. The first Torah Waterville had, and it's in the shul now.
Did they have any trouble getting it out of the country when they came to the border?
Well, you had to smuggle it in.
And when they arrived in America,
He kept it at home, and we used to have shul meeting every Saturday in different homes before we had a shul. And they moved my father's Torah from one house to another for the services. They had it as the only Torah there was right in this vicinity.
when your mother and father arrived in Ellis Island from the boat, did they have anybody to meet them, to vouch for them to be admitted to the United States?
No, they had nobody, but they were already planned to send them back to Europe, where they come from. But my father saw a man with a big beard, looked like a Jew, and he said in Hebrew, in Jewish tongue, "Come to her, David, we will know the secret to cake zum Käse in Europe. Wir will nicht gehen. Ihr geht zum Office und sagt, als mein cousin ist gekommen, und sein Namen, ich werde geben meinen Namen, ich werde geben mein Manns Namen. Mein Manns Name ist Julius, und mein Name ist Rachel, Judy, and so he sucht uns. Well, at that time it was so difficult to come into America that he was glad to do anything to help a foreigner to come in. So he told that story, and then that's how my father was able to get into this country.
It was your mother that spoke to this man, and
Yeah, my mother
the
spoke to him.
translation
Yeah.
is, she said, please help us get into this country so the Kaiser won't persecute us in Europe by telling the officials that we're your cousin.
The Kaiser was very unpopular in this country, too.
Press it a minute, Robin, I'll tell you something. And how did they happen to come to Waterville, Maine? Had your father's son,
They came to
oldest son,
Boston first, and Father had no business except to peddle, and it was hard for him to walk up and down the big buildings where the people lived. And so he came in Waterville and peddled with a basket in Waterville for a while, and then he was successful enough to buy a horse and team, and he went into the junk business.
Did he have a son, William Levine, in Waterville ahead of him?
Yeah, William Levine came here. Married my father, was married twice. His first wife died, and he married my mother in Europe. And father, what did you say?
Sarah was his sister, not
And
William.
oh yes. And your father's daughter, Sarah, lived with her husband in Waterville, Maine, and that's why they came here from Boston?
They wrote to us. I don't remember when I was born then. I had a sister, Eva, born ahead of me. And we moved to Waterville.
When you practiced law in Waterville, 1922, you started?
I practiced law until I retired.
When you began, had there ever been any Jewish lawyers in Waterville before?
No, I was the first Jewish lawyer.
And how did the other lawyers receive you?
Well, very well. And I used to help other lawyers. I used to go to court for other lawyers. I used to like trial work. And other lawyers would ask me to go try cases for them. Go on.
Was your father Orthodox, observant of the Jewish religion?
Oh, yeah. Very Orthodox in the old country.
And when he came to this country, when he was peddling with a horse and team, would he still be able to say his afternoon prayers?
First he dealt with small wares, the two baskets. Had one basket in front on one shoulder and another basket in the back on the other shoulder, and peddled that way. Then he got a little bit prosperous enough to buy a house and have a team, and he went into the junk business.
When he peddled around in the country, how would he say his afternoon prayers? How would he daven?
He stand up on the footstool in front of his team, and he had a big box where he traded tinware and porcelain, different things. And so at retail prices, it cost him wholesale, so he made a double profit for the articles he gave to return for his junk, the little wares he had. So he did pretty well here in Maine, better than he could in Boston. That's why they moved here.
Did he continue to daven every afternoon, even if he was out in the country?
Oh yes, yes. He'd stand up on the platform of his team and hold the reins and say his daily prayers in the afternoon, and if he came in late, he'd have to say the Maariv, the second prayer, and he'd get along best he can. He observed his faith.
And did your mother also contribute to making a living by taking in boarders?
They used to come to my home, different men from Augusta and Gardner, used to deal in junk, and they had a horse and team. And my father, we had a stable on Chaplain Street where I lived, and they pay for care, their own care for the night, and also for food for the horse and team. And mother worked, did everything she could to contribute to the support of the family, and that's how they were able to get by. Always worked for themselves.
In the basement, of your house, did they have a mikveh, a ritual bath for the Jewish women?
Mother had a mikveh in our basement, and they'd come. They were more religious then than they seem to be now, and they'd come from Augusta and Gardner and Waterville and surrounding towns, and every month they'd come for the mikveh, and Mother used to take care of that, and they used to pay for that. That helped contribute to support.
Did your mother and father used to go to hear you speak in speaking contests at Colby College?
They'd go to the speaking contest, yes. Oh yes, they were very proud of me, because I was getting a liberal education which they never had. They were very happy about it.
And did your father used to go to your law office once you had an office?
Oh yes. Father used to go to my office, and he would work on Saturday, of course, and enjoy the privilege of observing me practice law. And when I first started, I had no office girl, and Father used to come, and he used to speak in broken English. My son's coming right back. Wait, don't hurry. He come right. He'll take care of you all right. He's a good lawyer.
Once you made a living, your father retired?
After a while, he retired. And I took care of my father and mother.
When you were teaching school in New Hampshire, you were principal of Meredith High School.
Meredith High School.
Did you used to send them home things?
I send them home money.
And did you also send them chickens and fruit?
Meredith is an agricultural community, and I'd send them live chickens in strawberry crates, and they enjoyed it very much, and that helped them too.
Why would you send them a live chicken instead of the money to buy a chicken?
Because you couldn't buy it unless you went in the country. At that time, my father was peddling with baskets, a basket in the front and a basket in the back, and sold his wares. He walked to Oakland, walked to Fairfield, within reasonable walking distance. That's before he had a horse and team.
How would you travel in order to go from Waterville to Meredith, New Hampshire?
How did I travel?
Travel to get there.
Oh, I traveled by train.
And then did you have a superintendent that had an automobile, one of the first automobiles? He'd pick you up and give you a ride, the superintendent in his new car? Dog, when you were living as a youngster in Waterville?
Waterville, we had a dog, we called him Beauty. He's a little Boston Terrier. Nice little pup. We had him for quite a while. We kept him so long that we finally had to put him away.
How many years did it take you to go through BU Law School? You remember?
3 years, I think.
I thought it was...
I started at Harvard Law School, and then the war broke out, and they sent me to Portland or Augusta for another subsequent. And I had to wait my turn to get called. I gave up school until I got a call. I didn't know when I was going to get a call, and folks thought I was going to pass, and they wanted me home as long as they could. So I stayed home. Had no parents could send me to school, and I went and I taught school for 2 years, and I saved my money, and I went to law school. And my first, while I was in law school, I waited on tables in Boston in a restaurant to earn my food. I had to do things. I wanted an education. I couldn't rely on my folks. They didn't have it.
Could you get kosher food in Boston?
Did you get kosher food in Boston?
Kosher food, there was kosher restaurants in Boston. There is now too, same thing.
And didn't you have to take extra courses so you would save a year's tuition? You took more than the usual number of courses in law school to save a year's tuition by doing 3 years in 2.
Well, I started in Harvard Law School, and then the war broke out, and then I had to make up enough subjects so I could continue and get my degree.
I saw Senator McIntyre from New Hampshire at a BU alumni meeting recently. Senator McIntyre of New Hampshire said Harvard didn't allow him to finish, so he went to BU where they did, too. Joyce, don't be...
co-op. Did I say co-op? Co-op?
Yep.